Good
Thank
morning,
you, Tim.
Denny.
Thank you, Tim. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's Wednesday. It is already December, and this is, in fact, the last episode of LMTV for 2015, and we saved the best for the last. And today we actually have a company that we want to introduce and a fellow entrepreneur that we want to introduce. To do that, I would like to turn this to my partner, Tim, because he actually knows a lot of people behind this company. Tim, why don't you kind of the company that we want to introduce today is Uila, which spells UILA.com. And the gentleman that we want to introduce is Chia-Chee Kuan, who's the co-founder and CEO. So tell us about how you came to know the company, how you came to know Chia-Chee.
Well, Chachi was a co-founder of AirMagnet, and I knew Dean Awe, who was the other co-founder. I've known Dean since Network General days when I had hair. I never had hair. But Dean and Chachi are well known for their technology. They did an incredible job at AirMagnet, brought the industry an incredible device, tool, which is still around. It's owned by Fluke, which is now owned by NetScout. And I've known Dean a long time, and Dean's an incredible guy. Chachi I just met once or twice when they were at AirMagnet. But the neat thing about this company is you hear me all the time preaching visualization, visualization. If you can't see it, you don't know if it's broken, you can't fix it, right? Well, virtualization, virtual routers, switches, appliances of all kind, is growing at a rapid pace. And it virtually leaves you blind unless you know what you're doing. And Dean and Chachi got together and thought about this. They've seen it. Chachi came from Cisco for a while. He sold one of his companies to Cisco, and he knows all about Cisco, and he knows all about switching and virtualization. And it's becoming a major problem. It's virtual. You can't see it. You can't get to it. And so Dean and Chachi got together with, I think it was Dean's brother, and now they've got a company, and they build an incredible visualization tool, management tool for the virtualization world. And by the way, Uila is the name of the company, and I think in Hawaiian it means lightning or lightning bolt or taser or something. So, Chachi, I'm glad to get you on here. I can't wait to get Dean on and harass him a little bit, but I really wish you guys luck, and I hope this really goes well. It looks like it's an incredible product. And Chachi, at the end, be sure to tell people about your upcoming freemium. That's a new word for me. Okay, freemium, and what it is where you'll get an actual usable copy of the software and actually be able to use it in your environment, and you will see nearly immediately how much visualization it gives you into your virtual tier. And I'm a big fan of visibility. So Chachi, turn it over to you. Tell us about it, and welcome to Love My Tool.
And Chachi, first talk about the company. I understand that it's a little over 2 years old, and you guys are shipping product already, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Hi, team. Hi, Danny. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Yes, the company, Uila, was founded in 2013 by the same co-founder of AirMagnet, and a couple other companies that co-founder worked together in the last 20 years or so. We, being the veteran in Silicon Valley, working on primarily networking, network analysis, protocol analysis, network management type of solution to the industry. And the last one, as Tim just mentioned, was AirMagnet, that focused on Wi-Fi protocol analysis, Wi-Fi deployment planning, and such. So this particular company that we founded 2 years ago, called Uila, U-I-L-A, it is a Hawaiian name called thunder in the cloud. It lights up the cloud, so you gain visibility into cloud computing. That's where we got the name from. It's all about visibility, about having all the components visible to you as an IT operations manager. So we have product shipping, we have paying customers, we have a lot of POC, proof of concept sites going on, and I appreciate the opportunity to kind of tell the world about the best secret about our company. We haven't really, officially launched the company or made any press release or announcement. We took the opportunity with the Love My Tool and your great reachability to reach your audience to let people know about us.
Fantastic. I'm glad you're here.
Wow, I feel honored.
Well, likewise.
Okay, good.
Cool. So without further ado, if you don't mind, I'll just show a few slides, just give some background and some of what we do, what's a value proposition for your audience, and then we'll do a quick demo if that agenda works for you.
Go for it. I'm ready.
All right. So I will share my screen now.
This is a test.
This is the test. So hopefully you can see my full screen.
Yes. There you
Okay.
go.
So our solution, again, is application-aware infrastructure performance management. It is a mouthful. I apologize for that, but I'm sure infrastructure performance management is no stranger to your audience. What we really inject here is the emphasis on application awareness, because we are all IT managers or IT operations personnel, and we sometimes don't see application, and sometimes we do, and we are all about, we meaning our solution is a lot about being able to see everything in order to solve an issue, including application itself. So this is what we see the world, why the world need another tool, need another solution like what we are providing right now. So the way that we see the organization in the IT world, or in your cloud computing world, or in your public-private cloud or hybrid cloud environment is that there typically you have application team and infrastructure team. And then they are having different responsibility and thinking about different things. Application team is closer to business. And usually the application team are more thinking about application response time, end user experience, and tied to business objectives such as revenue and things like that. The infrastructure teams, like most of us are, we are more about networking, we're more about virtualization, and many times we're a server admin person, and many times we're storage admin persons. And we have all these components, all these moving parts that we care about, and that's our daily job to make sure those things are working as smoothly as possible. And what we see as a challenge for an organization in many, many cases is the gap. That is, even though business is important, it's very much tied to application, but we as infrastructure personnel or IT ops managers, many times we don't gain the visibility into the application, but yet we need to support the application to run smoothly as possible. And also, even within the infrastructure team, which is kind of a general term, you have infrastructure team, but this actually have networking team in it, and they also have storage, virtualization, or server admin. Even within infrastructure team, we have our own silos where information sharing may not be as smooth as it can be. For example, we may have our favorite networking tools. However, within that tool, we do not see how virtualization is happening, or how server CPU is being shared, or how storage response time, such as EMC, NetApps devices that you may have, is performing well or not well, impacting or not impacting networking or application performances. So this is the pain when the application performance is impacted. What tool do we pull out to solve that application performance issue? Well, first is if you put out the networking tool, then if the really root cause is storage performance, then you just wasted your time looking for networking trouble to solve the application performance issue. So our pitch here is such that in order to solve application issues, you really need a solution that can look into every silos of the components, meaning application, CPU, memory, storage, networking across the virtual and physical layer. So back to Tim's point is the visualization across all of the above. so that the IT team can be as efficient, as productive as possible. Troubleshooting time doesn't cost you multiple days or even multiple hours. It should be just minutes. That's what we as a company, Uila, was designed and started and founded to do and accomplish, and we believe we have accomplished that.
Especially today, when events are occurring in your network, it's definitely needed quickly to point to the right area, the right domain of the issue, but also visualization helps you if you start getting aberrant behavior. So even a visualization tool can be one of your best security tools if you learn what's normal and then all of a sudden something changes. It helps you figure out something's wrong, where it's wrong, and you can move quickly to abate it.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you, team. So visualization really is a key part of our product, and we see is a key part of problem resolution. You can't see it, you can't fix it, right? In this world today, what do you want to see? You want to see application, because application is critical to business operation. And then application is what we as IT ops manager is meant to support as well and keep running as smoothly as possible. And then visualization, besides application, it is also the correlation of application performance across the physical and the virtual layer into server CPU, server memory, and networking and storage performances. So what we do is all about correlation, visualization, analysis across all this layer, and finally you can do troubleshooting effectively, and then we do the analytics for you so you can optimize your data center, your application performance, and have IT running smoothly. Okay, so if this is so great, why haven't anybody done it already? Why does it wait until Uila to come out and do this thing? So what we believe is that virtualization make it all possible to do. As you see this picture, there are so many moving parts, right? There are application to get application information across all this layer, and CPU information, memory information, networking, and storage information. How do you get all that, right? Just networking alone is already difficult. But what we invented and what we designed and we think is innovative in Uila is that we leverage virtualization to make these information that wasn't accessible to a single solution before now all possible. So let me just quickly jump into how we accomplish this that nobody has ever done before. So imagine this picture now being your data center, and then you have physical layer infrastructure, including compute, storage, and networking, obviously, all these things that we deal with day in, day out. And obviously, you have server that has hypervisor, typically maybe VMware in your environment that does the virtualization. And inside VMware, inside the hypervisor, you have the virtual switches that actually carry your traffic. It goes through virtual switches, go through your hypervisor, and finally reach the physical layer into your network. So the first thing that we as a solution do is, we're networking guys. We want to see packet. We want to understand what all these virtual machine, all these application server are doing. So what we do is for each individual physical server, we can allow you to put in something we call a virtual traffic tab or virtual smart tab that tap into the traffic. We do not need to tap the physical switches on the span port. We also do not need to install agent into your application server, but we have a software-based solution that is tapping into the virtual switch that can see all the packet. Imagine that being a sniffer, but a software-based sniffer, packet sniffer, that look at your packet going in and out of every single virtual machine and do the processing locally on your hypervisor, on your physical server. There we learn the networking intelligence, such as your TCP fatal retry, TCP window 0, TCP, what have you, packet drop, right? We get all that information as well as deep packet analysis into your SQL, your ERP application, your Oracle queries and response, and most importantly, what we do is measure that application response time at the application level. And all these smarts are being done locally on that virtual smart tab. And then only the digested metadata gets transmitted out to another virtual machine, another virtual appliance that is keeping all this data. So that's first step that we do. So by doing this, we get the networking and application intelligence. So at this point, we're still missing the server intelligence, meaning CPU, memory, virtualization, and also the storage information. Where do we get that? In your data center, if you use VMware, what we do is we go into the VMware virtualization infrastructure. We pull that type of information out, including how your storage devices are put together. Is it EMC? Is it NetApp? How are they being used by each individual host, and how are they being used by each individual virtual machine? That is your application server. And more importantly is how are their performance matrices, such as CPU usage percentage, CPU wait time for swapping, memory wait time for swapping, and also storage latency. We get all that good stuff about your compute and storage performance and structural information. We collect all that information. We will also send that information to our controller. And finally, we also go to your physical infrastructure to get more information to correlate. And we do that by using SNMP query into your, for example, Cisco top-of-rack switches or whichever top-of-rack switches that you use. We get that information and we map that into everything that we just collected. So by now, we have information about your physical infrastructure, virtual infrastructure, CPU, memory, storage, and networking, and very importantly, your application information. We got all that. We send all that information to our analytics engine that could be either in the cloud that we provide, and this is a SaaS service platform. Software as a service platform that we do the analytics in there. Or in some customer case, or in some of your case, if you want to deploy your own server rather than use our cloud, we have that option as well. So this is how we do it. This is the magic sauce. But what we really accomplish here is collecting information from all these layers and from all these components, CPU, memory, storage, and networking, plus the application, and then put it all together to present to the user. And then after we've done that, and then the value to you is not only being able to visualize it, correlate it, but also through our analytics engine, we tell you there are application performance issue and be able to very quickly pinpoint it to the root cause. So I have gone on for too long, and it's probably boring some of you. Tim, at this point, or Danny, at this point, are there any questions or anything that I missed that you would like me to cover a little bit more before we move forward a little bit?
No, I think that people that are using virtualization, they're doing it because of the dynamics of virtualization, the savings factor, and when your hypervisor can cause your problems if you're not managing it correctly. Of course, your whole network can give you problems. This helps cut down a lot of that finger pointing right away. Is it my world? Is it your world? Is it an application? Is it a user, or customer experience problem? Or have the dynamics of my network change? So this gives you what I call a visualization plane into the virtual world, and that's something that everybody needs today, especially. I mean, just a week ago, a company that's a major toy maker didn't know that their customer network had been breached because their visualization was limited and they couldn't tell that 5 million plus records had been downloaded by a hacker, which would be a huge traffic change. It would be a barren IP addresses, and it would be something unusual if people were monitoring that plane, the visibility plane. And so this is essential because virtualization is not going to go away. The virtual world is just beginning, and people are learning how to use it. And this is a heck of a learning tool too. I mean, if you just put together your virtual plane and you don't have any management tools, this would be really incredible to help you start out and understand what's going on, what's good, what's bad. So I just think this is great. People need this desperately right now.
Thank you, team. Thank you, team. So,
Chia-Chee, we have some time. So if you want to just quickly show our audience what your product look like, and maybe just kind of run through a little bit, that would be good.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Danny, for the opportunity. Let me just show my screen. So what you see here is very colorful. So let me go through this very quickly here. This is what our user would see when you log on to our SaaS-based console, or if you use on-prem solution, this will be on-prem server that you log into. So very quickly getting your attention is a lot of colors. So we build all these parameters, all this matrix for performance that we collected, we all build automatically baseline for you. So for example, there's application response time. We automatically measure, you have HTTP server that has typically your baseline is about 5 millisecond response time. We learn that, we automatically build that baseline, and then when you deviate from the baseline, depends on the degree of the deviation, we give you different color. And obviously green is good, red is bad, yellow in between, and orange in between is kind of in between. And so we build that baseline for you. Besides the baseline, our colors are also based on best practices. For example, you have storage latency. We know for sure if you go beyond 50 milliseconds of storage latency, that is the I/O latency, that is not good. Even though your baseline is 100 milliseconds, we still know 50 milliseconds, even though below 100 milliseconds of your normal baseline, will still give you a red. So we have this combination of color coding to guide you through finding issue, whether that's application issue or infrastructure performance issue. So that's kind of a long explanation of my color. But now we know the color, let's quickly look into what this console means. So first of all, I pitched so much about knowing all the components, starting from application. That's the upper left circle that represent all the application in your data center. And then the 4 circles on the right represent individually CPU, memory, storage, and networking. Right? Each one of them can be expanded to look at more details. There's a lot of depth to this tool, but at this point, at this console level, it's very much about just a summary. Right? And then obviously we start out from application performance. So here, for example, you point to this particular VM, very quickly our tool will tell you this is the VM, it's serving this application called SPDY as your application. You get that without any configuration because we pulled out all this information, for example, the name of the server, Oracle 11GM4, we pull the name out of your VMware environment. So it's all auto-learned. And this SPDY application, we know that because we are doing protocol analysis, we automatically learn that.
Chia-Chee, real quick.
Yes.
Yeah. How long would you estimate someone that understands virtualization, that's designed or has developed applications for it and used it, how long would you think it would take them to deploy your product and start getting relevant information or learning information, I call it?
Yes. So deployment is about half an hour. We have deployed for many of our customers, some of our customers deploy themselves. Half an hour to an hour is all you need. what we typically, the deployment process typically involves is downloading the software and just basically deploy a virtual machine, just like you would deploy a virtual machine normally. And then we have a installation process that's very easy. And after the deployment, it's just a few minutes, you will start seeing color. And obviously, we need to build the baseline. Default out of the box, the baseline is based on the last hour. So an hour later, all the color would reflect the previous hour as the baseline. We have other options such as using same time last week as your baseline. So in order to get that baseline, if you choose that option, then it's a week later, you will see the color reflecting the baseline that you wish. That make sense, team?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of trying to get to the perspective of, you know, I buy it. How long do I have to wait before I can start educating myself about my network through your console? And that's what what you've said was the way people need to look at it is depends on what you want to use as your average baseline. But you can start getting information in an hour or two.
Right, right. So typically a few minutes later, our customers start being drawn into all this color. What does it mean? Because, for example, if you look at this screen right now, your eyes get very quickly drawn to the storage health because it's so red, right? Yeah. And then the moment that you move your cursor to all these guys, you already see there is a host, physical host, that's storage performance is so bad, it's this much time, right? And then there's a VM that is so slow in storage performance, and users start to get drawn into it very, very quickly. And it's very intuitive to use. And due to the time limitation, I'll just show a few scenario. If time works out for you, Danny or Tim, do I have a few more minutes to do?
Sure. No, take all the time you need. Yeah.
Okay, great.
And we hope we get you back in a few weeks or months to have you do a proper demo from start to finish.
You're still about 4 minutes to the 30-minute mark. So yeah, just do what you have to do.
Okay. So I will just do the most common use case, the most powerful case. That is about finding the root cause of application performance. So because we have so many times get application or end user calling us saying such and such application don't work well. So what you can do here with our tool here is there are all these application. These are servers. And as you point to them, you see all green. They are all performing very well. But nevertheless, it could still be, within the minute, there are some application issue that we averaged out to be green. Or if you look at the bottom, we already generated application performance alert for you. And then you can click on either places to have the system analyze the root cause for you for this application performance issue. So for example, if I just leverage on the alert that the system automatically generated for us, if I just click on it, the system will go into the database, as we talked about earlier, that has application performance issue, that has CPU, memory, storage, and networking information across the virtual and physical layer. As we put it out, automatically analyze it for you. Here's the conclusion. You see the top blue screen that has all these red bars, green bars, and yellow bars. That's your application response time. So, and the horizontal black line is your baseline. Immediately you see I have application performance slow time in here. And white bar is your number of transactions. You do have a lot of transactions, but the conclusion really is here. Your CPU is green, no CPU issue, no memory issue. Boy, do you have storage issues. You may want to click on it to look into it in more detail, but I also tell you this particular server has very little networking issue. Networking are in yellow state. It's not home free as green as others, but it is yellow. But let's not waste our time on CPU, memory, and networking at this time. Let's go into storage, because storage is light up red. You click on storage very quickly. Let me zoom in a little bit. Very quickly, we show you the three layers as we promised: the virtualization layer, the host layer, the data store layer performance of your storage. That's very much related to this application, meaning this application server, the VM layer, storage latency is big, it's bad, it's light up green. Don't blame the VM because everybody on the host is suffering the same thing. And don't even blame on the host. Look at your data store. This may be your EMC data store by the name of data store 1, parenthesis 4. Its read latency is so high, and then you got so many read operations, read IOPS. And these are the people who's issuing read IOPS. So very quickly, you have the root cause analysis pinned down to storage, and you don't have to waste time on CPU, memory, and networking. So this is one usage scenario. Before I get you away from this too deeply, I want to go through a lot of other depths that we also provide. One is application. We automatically draw this chart that you see on the screen that is application dependency. You could easily have a web server that depends on backend database server, that depends on another database server, and that depends on, for example, at some time, a DNS server or even going through gateway. All these are automatically laid out for you, and also you see very much quickly a red spot that tells you that guy has problem. And then that guy is a virtual machine that serve all these application protocol, right? So we automatically build these charts for you for your critical application. And you don't have to do anything for this chart to be built. And the better thing is when you see red, you click on it, we automatically find the root cause for you without you having to even think about, is it CPU, is it memory, or is it storage, or is it networking? Let me do this again, just one more demo on here, because I see this particular ball, which is a virtual machine that is called Oracle 11G N2. It's orange, so obviously it's having some application issues. And then we analyze the 4 applications that it serves. 3 of them are green, 1 of them is yellow, that's suffering application response time issue. You click on it, again, will bring you back to this root cause analysis screen that will automatically will tell you what the problem is. In this case, again, it leads us to storage. It could very well be something else, and then we will point you there. As you click on that, we'll take you to the deeper level, right? So before we leave today's session, I'll just quickly touch on other analysis screens that's just as important. They are not application visibility, but more about networking visibility, CPU visibility, and also storage visibility. As many of us are networking guys, this particular chart is very unique that shows how your networking is in your virtualized data center. Again, we get the networking information from the virtual tab without having to tap into any of your physical switches. And what we built here is how your networking traffic is being carried from your host physical level to the virtual switch level, and the traffic continues to go onto your port group, which is your VLAN, and finally carried out by all this virtual machine, your application server, and then what type of traffic they are. For example, these we call classifier, they are applications. Mouse over to a particular virtual machine, we tell you exactly what the networking statistic is, including your favorite TCP retry, TCP Windows 0, TCP reset in here, and also what application they're running. You can click on any of these things to see more details. You can also choose to have this view to start from networking switches, right? Instead of starting from physical hosts, you start from your networking top-of-rack switches to see this particular Cisco switches carry the majority of your data center traffic, and who's using it, what applications using it, and what VLAN is using it. And also to the CPU layer, we do CPU analysis, right, in such a way to see who's using your CPU. Again, you move your timeline will just basically reflect the time that you selected, whether it's big or small, right? We show you your data center, your host, your cluster, your host, and each individual VM. You can see how your CPU being used. Memory, similar way. Visually, very quickly, you see your data center, you see your cluster, you see your host, And boy, is this host having issue because we mark it red. What virtual machine is running on this host? Very quickly, we list it out for you. But again, very importantly is what application that host is actually running that is suffering from memory usage. You very quickly see this particular virtual machine is running SSH as the application, and it is green. So even though its memory is rated not very healthy, being red, but application is running fine. Right?
Yeah.
Storage is very important. From your storage devices to your host that's hooked up to your storage devices, to the VM that sits on your host, to the virtual disk, and very quickly, visually, you see, boy, is this particular data store having an issue. It's impacting this particular VM called Oracle 11g-N1, and Oracle 11g-N1 are running 4 applications. Storage latency are at the 300 or 200 level. At the host level, at the VM level, you have storage latency to be 300 millisecond or 200 millisecond range. So application response time are also listed. You can again click on any one of these to do root cause analysis. If I click on HTTP, I can very quickly see, as expected, we light up storage as a root cause. Networking is never an issue, but I can nevertheless still click on networking to see the networking statistic to see how it is. Oh boy, I do have one virtual packet lost in here, right, at the virtualization layer. So I am doing super fast speed to just give you a taste of all the visualization that we can do across from application to your virtualization layer, to the physical layer, from application to CPU, memory, storage, and networking with deep dive. This is a 5 minutes quick demo, and I appreciate, team, you mentioned early on, I can be back and do a more full demo for everybody. I think that will do.
Yeah, I think next time we take and we pick out, put your console up and show people how quickly you can drill down and delineate the real world from the virtual world and what domain the problem lies in, and how, because that's important today. Quick resolution with an average breach lasting or going 200 plus days before anybody knows it, and data leaks and things like that. This product will really help, even though it's designed more as a diagnostic tool. It's got some incredible, and I lean towards security, but I kind of remember some of the stuff you were talking about kind of brought me back to the old Network General days, where we had so much expert stuff in there and quick resolution stuff. Of course, not to the level that you guys have, but I think this is great, and I really appreciate you guys getting in here and trying it out. We're going to be putting an article up probably later today or tomorrow that will have the links in it where you can go get the freemium, and you need to try it out and see how it saves your life and makes your life a lot easier when you're doing diagnostics and support for applications. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. So, Denny,
yeah.
You got it.
Chia-Chee, can you come back to the camera? Can you get
Absolutely.
out from the...
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good.
There we
Okay,
go.
so I hope we accomplished what you wanted to accomplish.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. And I apologize for being rushed a little bit, but I am so enthusiastic and passionate, as you can tell, about the solution and bring it to your audience.
It's your new baby, okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, well, we look forward to helping you as things goes along. So I think we should probably close it now. It's almost 40 minutes. So with that, I once again thank you very much, Chia-Chee, and have a great holidays.
Yeah, thank you, Danny. Thank you, team, for the opportunity, and happy holidays to your audience as well.
And Tim, thank you very much once again. I know it was a lot of effort to come to today's presentation.
It's worth it, though, and I want to wish everybody a very happy holiday, a Merry Christmas, and I hope that the new year, and everybody has a lot of joy and peace during this time on. I'm not real happy about warfare anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Okay.
hope everybody has a good one. My
Thank
best
you,
to you,
Tim.
Chia-Chee.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. And have a great holiday. And we'll see you in 2016. Bye-bye.
Bye bye, everyone.
Hang on, Chia-Chee.